What's up everyone, it's Sam here from Laura Lounge, here to tell you a bit about the history and background of United Security, also known as USEC, one of the main factions of the survivalist first-person shooter game, Escape from Tarkov. There's a lot of history here, so let's hop right into it. United Security is a security subcontracting firm of the international holding corporation TerrorGroup, and is essentially a literal private army, employing more than 7,500 private security contractors and staff in offices around the globe. United Security was established in the year 1999 after the joint merger of two companies, Kernighan and SafeC. Now, there are two men largely credited with forming the institution that USEC is today, those being Brian Kernighan, an American businessman, and John Berger, a retired Royal Marine colonel. Kernighan's career in the private security industry began not in the armed forces, but in the transportation business. After inheriting his father's trucking business, Kernighan decided to pursue the dangerous but lucrative job of hauling goods across the Mexican border through the deserts of the southwestern United States. Now, Kernighan stated that he discovered very quickly that he had underestimated the danger involved in the work. Due to the increase of vehicles being attacked or vanishing along the route, Kernighan took to hiring armed guards to protect his convoys, allowing him to take on bigger and more valuable orders while netting higher returns on those contracts. Now, eventually Kernighan had the realization that by running his own security detail instead of using someone else's, it made far more sense from a business standpoint. He then began building his own force of professional mercenaries and armored vehicles to protect those assets. Over time, the increasing number of clients requiring support services from his security services began to outpace his transportation business. That's when he knew he had to shift the focus of his company. Now, being the businessman that he was, Kernighan knew that he would not get far without the experience of managing military personnel, and so he decides instead to establish a new firm, Kernighan, with a buyout and acquisition of the Redbird company of a man named George Steiner. George Steiner is a man with a history largely hidden in the shadows. From what little is currently known about him from public record, Steiner is a retired brigadier general of the United States Army, a veteran of the Gulf War, and currently sits on the board of directors of USEC as COO. After his retirement from the Army in 1994, Steiner became the co-owner of the Redbird private military company after an invitation from an old friend and colleague. Now, while the company used to compete well with other PMCs for a good while in its early days, the death of its founder caused a sharp decline in profit under Steiner's full control. While Steiner excelled as an officer, he was nothing above mediocre as a businessman, and soon enough the decline in profit at Redbird allowed Kernighan to purchase it for more than a reasonable price, considering the enlisted manning, vehicle fleet, and training grounds. Another significant figure in the history of USEC is John Berger, a retired British Royal Marines colonel, also a highly decorated veteran of the Gulf War. While elusive, John Berger gave an extensive interview to the popular British military media in regards to his life story. The following contains excerpts from those interviews. After his retirement in 1994, the veteran active duty officer found himself bored easily. One night at a pub, after a round of drinking, an old friend of Berger's told him that he had been hiring himself out for 2 years as an escort to the British ships passing through the waters of Somalia. The friend bragged about the easy work and good money. It didn't take long for Berger to decide after that. However, Berger was less fortunate than his friend, and the ship was attacked on the very first voyage, and Berger, armed with only a revolver, failed to repel the attack. Nevertheless, this failure only spurred him, and upon his return to the UK, he was once again employed as an escort, but this time in the company of several retired officers and with much better arms and equipment. Fate challenges Berger yet again, and the pirates attacked his ship this time as well. But this time, he was ready, and the attack was repelled. Returning home, he immediately creates the Safe Sea Maritime Transport Paramilitary Escort Company, a future second half of USEC. The rapid rise of SafeC is closely linked to another intriguing person, a former British civil servant and USEC current head of business development, a shadow director on the company's board, Ronald Henry Hunt. Berger himself describes their acquaintance as purely accidental one that happened in 1998 on a sea cruise. The contact proved to be a fruitful one, and following this, SafeC scored a profitable government contract, and then another, and so on. A year later, Hunt quit public service and became Berger's companion. According to rumors, it was Ronald Hunt who persuaded Berger that the company needs to move on to the new international level and set up talks about merging with Kernighan. In any case, the negotiations were successful, leading to the establishment of USEC in 1999. Business qualities of Kernighan, combat experience of Steiner, management skills of Berger, and the diplomatic prowess of Hunt turned out to be a powerhouse combination. The newly formed private military company experienced a rapid rise, backed by the credibility of the British government contracts it received. Soon enough, USEC was noticed by the Pentagon, looking to staff up a new war in the Middle East. However, in Iraq, USEC was just one of many PMCs, so figuring out what exactly its role was there is now hardly possible. Its name was never mentioned in any high-profile scandals, unlike other private military firms. Countless attempts by journalists and lawmakers alike have yielded nothing but heavily redacted documents and censored photographs from USEC contracts with the US government in war zones across the world. and that's only when one manages to get past an army of lawyers currently employed by USEC. A new turn in the company's development came in the year 2007, when United Security formed a close partnership with the major international holding TerrorGroup. Rumors claim that such a prominent customer came from an unexpected source, thanks to the contacts of George Steiner, who hasn't been previously marked as an active side of the company's development and preferred instead to run the military side of the business. However, cooperation with TerrorGroup has brought the company not only a rapid rise, but a certain degree of notoriety as well. The contracts have marred USEC with scandals, sometimes international ones, like in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in 2009. Usually, such shady stories were associated with a certain Gus Van Sant, a former Green Beret and now head of USEC's Special Operations Department, who is, according to international watchdog groups, running the quote-unquote non-standard missions of the firm and alleged atrocities that were carried out by USEC during the contract wars. Currently, USEC has become the armed private security force of TerrorGroup Holdings and is currently categorized by the United Nations as a private military company, or PMC for short. Publicly, it focuses its efforts on the protection and defense of TerrorGroup personnel and private holdings, while according to international intelligence agencies, USEC is used to cover up illicit activities and illegal research practices of TerrorGroup and its subsidiaries. So that's everything we currently know about United Security's history and founding. But the lore of the Escape from Tarkov and Russia 2028 universe is still growing, so make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to get the latest lore and story updates from all your favorite games, movies, and books, and maybe discover something you never even knew about. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the video and what series and topics we should do next. Thanks again for watching, and make sure to check out our other social media accounts linked down below.